Any ideas? Any ideas?
Hello, how are you all? It's a Sunday evening. I'm here with my drink. Hello, stay hydrated, everyone. What a week it has been. Oh boy! Sipping that tea. Well, infusion, because tea dehydrates you, so I can't drink it too much. But how are you all? How is everyone? Where is everyone watching from? Shane Brimson asking about the Kingdoms Amalur Reckoning remaster, which was announced this week. This is my only video game chat of today. Yes, I'm very happy. But at the same time, I've not really been able to be like, yeah, about it, because my heart has kind of been focused on other things this week. And I will honestly get to the point where I like scream about it forever. But it's just been such a time, hasn't it? Thank you so much to people who've already donated today. I'm carrying on the fundraiser that I set up last week. Thank you so much to everyone who got it to over $13,000. It's ridiculous. Hello, there's people in Greece. Hello, Chris in Greece. Timothy Dye says hairphones. Yes, they blend in with my hair. Germany, Chris in Germany. Hello. Nathan in Australia. G'day. It's like 8 9 a.m. or something for you guys over there. Literal other side of the world. Hello. Los Angeles. Hello, Carrie. Hello from Texas. Sylvie. Antonio in Brazil. Thank you so much for donating. Again, before you feel the need to donate, please do feel free to read up on the if you click below the thing next to the page, it says donate now, and then underneath it says like show more, and it'll tell you more about the charity, so you can see the important work they do. And also, if you cannot donate, don't worry. In the description, I've popped some links to another list of places that you can donate. You don't just have to give to my fundraiser. I just went for the NAACP because it was one of the few charities that is listed on YouTube System that was directly helping Black Lives in America. So that I knew of, and I knew what they did. So there's a bunch of other charities that you can give through on there, and also there's a site where it's just a whole bunch of resources of how you can help, petitions, etc. If you like, not everyone is going to be able to donate. Not everyone can donate, and that's fine because we are in a tough situation right now, and we live in an unequal world. Let's face it. And I know the pain of wishing that I could give more to charity, but literally having no money to be able to do that. So there's other ways that you can help, don't worry. Hello everyone. Oh, Nat Geo is over in New York. Jenny Scott is all the way in Middlesbrough. Hello. Big up the Middlesbrough massive. Oh, Michael is in Minneapolis. Black Lives Matter. Yes, they do. Which is why fundraising and please help however you can. There's wow. So I don't know, where's my little notepad? I've got a little notepad of things that I've wanted to mention because a lot of things have happened this week. And there's a couple of things. Basically, I learnt something this week. I want to do a starting point. I'm going to quote a tweet, which I have already retweeted and liked on Twitter on my feed. Brilliloquy, I believe her Twitter username is pronounced, but it's on my Twitter. I think it's my most recent retweet. Normalize saying, I didn't think of it that way, I'll delete it. So today I kind of want to talk about growth and change, because a lot of things have come to light and people have had to do a lot of self-reflection, and even people who thought that they knew what to do and that they'd done all the right things and that they had the right mindset learnt this week, and continue to learn that, oh wait, I thought I knew everything. I thought that I was doing the right thing, but I was missing something and I completely didn't realise that, and now I see it in a different way and I'm going to change. And I think that's brilliant. There's a lot of growth happening. One example of that is I chose the NAACP. Another reason I chose the NAACP is because a lot of the Rooster Teeth guys were choosing it and shouting it out, a lot of the team over there. And some stuff came out this week about previous Achievement Hunter member Mika not getting the support that she needed, basically, because I've experienced it being a woman joining a team. For me it was slightly different. Both times that I've joined teams, it's been when another woman was on the team or was already on the team. When you are another woman stepping into the same position that was held by a woman in an industry where there's not many women, you're like the replacement, like for like, in this weird way that it isn't always elsewhere. There's also this added thing of there's this added level of, for some reason, people want to immediately start comparing how attractive you are to the other person, which really sucks. And it's why when I left Xbox On, and I knew that the lovely Lydia was going to be taking over as a presenter, I was like, hey, could you all be nice to the new presenter? Be nice to the new person, whoever replaces me at this point. I knew because I'd recommended it because she's so good, and she'd also already been chosen. Basically, everyone was like, Lydia's great. And like I just felt like, okay, I have to say, I have to make this announcement to be like, don't be an arse to the next person. Because it's not fun being on the end of that. Because it's people going, oh, you're not this person, and then making a bunch of awful comments. And even when I joined Outside Extra as a completely separate channel, sister channel to Outside Xbox, there were still some people who were so concerned that I was going to replace Jane. Which the team have been like really good at being like, no, we're just another channel, we're all working together, and have like worked really hard to make like the others worked so hard and brilliantly to make sure that Luke and I were like welcome, and the Outside Xbox community were amazing. But there was this like vocal minority, and like even when I was at Xbox On, there was like, because there were similarities between the two channels, I'm so used to Jane and I being compared to each other in a way that male presenters are not. So I could, that's only that's a fraction of what Mika must have been dealing with. Or like, and I know I don't even have to imagine. It's so like, it's so obvious to me, and it's a shame that that it's taken this for things to change, but I'm glad that they're changing. My heart goes out to Fiona. I think her and Mika have done a lot of educating in the past week. And yeah, go support them. Please just go support the heck out of their work. But yeah, I want to come back to the Mika story, but like this is like a jumping off point, because what has just really warmed my heart watching this whole thing play out is the Achievement Hunter Rooster Teeth guys just being very like, yeah, we messed up and we'll grow and we'll change, and we'll improve. We want to make this situation better for the people who aren't white dudes, like and like them putting their hands up and saying, yeah, we did the wrong thing and we made a mistake and we're going to learn from that. Because I think a lot of the things that are stopping us from progressing in society, are stopping change from happening, is the fear of being wrong, the fear people have of being wrong. And the thing is, it's not okay to be wrong. Like, you shouldn't be wrong, but it's okay to admit when you are wrong and learn from that. I actually had a experience of that this week on Twitter. I had a very quick education in something from friends and followers, and I was like, oh, well, I biffed that up, didn't I? I am going to delete and learn from it. And that was because I came on like Monday morning or something. I can't remember exactly what day it was. Doesn't matter. But I got on really early in the morning. Well, really early. I got on before work and was like, oh, there's a Twitter, like in the What's Happening tab on Twitter, someone had collated, like someone had made like a story, a Twitter collation of tweets, showing cops in America bending the knee, taking the knee, and marching with protesters. And I was like, cool, this is nice, because This is what should be happening. There shouldn't be police brutality. The police should be working with people. Why aren't more people why aren't more police officers doing this? This is good. This is growth and change and hope. I was very quickly informed that a lot of the time these people were showing this sign of solidarity with the protesters. Like, cops were kneeling and like walking with them. And then the very same day, the very same cops were immediately turning around, throwing tear gas, hitting people with batons and spraying them in the face. And they were using it as a tactic to basically make people think that they were safe and lower their guard. And also, my tweet kind of gave across the wrong thing of like, oh, see, cops are cool. We shouldn't be angry at cops. Cops are cool. And like, no, we should be angry at the police right now. Because the number of videos that I have seen of the police like running people over, it, like, that alone, and there were videos of cops smashing up their own cars. There were cops smashing windows. There were cops, well, there was graffiti that said like something like coloured people are the best. It was something where it was like, remember when that old guy said that some black people burnt the Confederate flag on his thing and did graffiti, and the graffiti said blacks rule because he doesn't know how black people talk in America? It was kind of like that. There was graffiti that was obviously not done by the protesters. And it's like, it's ridiculous. I always had this hope that, you know, officers are there to help people, and you know, like, basically, I know there are good cops out there because they're the ones who have resigned and refused to throw tear gas at protesters. I know that we're living in a scary world where, you know, you don't want to lose your job, but if you're sitting there throwing tear gas at protesters who are like, hey, civil rights, maybe stop and think, like, and just be like, hey, if I quit, can someone help me? Like, people will help you. I'm pretty sure people will set up a fund for cops who don't want to do this. There's probably already one out there. But yeah, and I learned very quickly. I very quickly educated myself, deleted the original retweet that I'd put out going, oh, this is nice, and said, okay, so some people have taught me something. I'll know. I'm really sorry that if anything that I said, well, I'm really sorry that what I said could easily undermine stuff. Not if, like, it really could. And yeah, learn how to apologize. Not, I'm sorry if this offended you. I'm sorry I tweeted something offensive. Like, just own up to it. This whole thing is like a learning process, and it's fine. Like, yeah. Deathwatch 27. My mate is a cop, but he's on the sick. Good lad. But yeah, like, look, we the cops that are out there, like the man in his 70s who was like, well, apparently because he had a helmet in his hand and he was apparently returning it to the police, and someone pushed him over. Like, there were two police officers, another guy kind of pushed him back, and this guy fell back, smacked his head open, and is like, you could see the blood on the pavement. It's a very I was really like, oh my god, when I saw it. So I completely understand if you don't want to go and watch it. But yeah, like, those guys, initially the city said that the guy tripped. Then the video went viral. Then they went, okay, we'll suspend these guys. And then the rest of their unit resigned, not from the police force, from that unit, in solidarity with the cops that had pushed the guy over and not stopped to give it, like, they called it in, they called it in, but like there was one of them like went to stop and help the guy, and another guy like pushes him to keep walking, and it's I'm like, where is your humanity? So there's that. So yeah, I'm basically even less sympathetic towards the police. Oh my goodness. Please all stay safe. If you've been out there protesting, I know I've had friends who have been out protesting this week. Please all look out for each other, look after yourselves. I know everyone's doing their best to do the whole like social distancing, like seeing protests where they're social distancing like really, 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 really well is amazing. And then everyone at most protests is wearing masks, they've got hand gel and things, and it's lovely to see that you're all trying to be as careful as you can while you understandably fight for your rights and fight for other people's rights. I'm like, you seriously, the people protesting this week have given me life this week. You have been a huge strength to me, like, let alone the support that you're giving the Black community. It's like it just warms my heart that there's enough people out there who are willing to stand alongside other people. But yeah, so basically we live in a world where it's okay to learn from your mistakes. I think there's a real fear from certain parts of, like, certain kind of corners of the internet. When I used to make more social issue-y videos on here, basically I found a tactic that was used against anyone who called for any kind of social justice and equality. Is they try and find that one thing that they could either take out of context or undermine. Someone's saying thanks for supporting devastation of works of art. I think this might, right, okay, let's skip to this. Okay, so I have recently today tweeted, I mean, well done, mate. You're gonna get, you've atted me in the chat and you're gonna get it. Because I have zero patience. Right, so basically Edward Colston was a slave trader. He benefited by selling human beings as produce. He killed, like, any slaves, things that I've learned about him today, things, if a slave, while getting over to America or the Caribbean, was ill, he would throw them overboard for insurance rather than, like, treat them. Basically, it's really funny because today I had on my list of things that I wanted to talk about was just how much Britain actually played a role in the slave trade. Paul Harry says, Ellen, I think you've taken the bait. Yeah, look, this is another thing I want to talk about. There's been this whole thing of don't feed the trolls. That is a thing that I have never abided by. Because it lets you Churchill too. Look, Churchill was a massive racist. Churchill, I remember watching a thing about food during during different periods of time. It was hosted by Giles Corran, who is very awful, but also Sue Perkins, who is great. And I remember they did an episode where they talked about Churchill and the things that he ate, while everyone else was on rations in Britain. He was eating lobster and champagne. So yeah, real man of the people. Look, I'm not going to take away what he did. like in terms of the good things that good for him. He helped us. Like he did help us, but you cannot ignore the pain that he caused. You just can't. And like, just it's we venerate these people and we hide what they actually did, and we look at them through rose tinted glasses, and yeah, it's okay. You keep atting me, so I'm not gonna keep responding to you, but like you've just brought up topics that I was already gonna talk about. But yeah, this thing happened in Bristol where there was this slave trader who had a statue up in Bristol, and like the protesters there tore it down and chucked it in the water so that it's gone. Like they'll have to like dredge it out. And someone said it was very poetic that it was dropped in the very waters that the ships were used to like go and like get traded like slaves and stuff like it. And I don't believe that we need statues of slave owners, like slave traders, just because they had a lot of money back in the day. Like he probably has that statue there because he gave a load of money to the city, but that money was made through selling people. It's just because what I wanted to talk about today was like there's been protests in the UK, and they were going, why are we protesting in the UK? And I'm so glad for the education that I had, because there are a lot of people who seem to be completely oblivious to our part in the slave trade. It was like Grant Shapps or whatever his bloody name is, was on Any Questions on Radio 4. My mum listens to Radio 4, and I was building some shelves for her this weekend. That was my job this weekend, my constructive thing, literally construction. And he was saying, like, when asked about us and racism, he was like, yes, but William Wilberforce and we stopped slavery and blah, 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 blah. Like, yeah, but we caused it. Like, the slave trade, the slave routes, okay? A lot of people think that it just goes from Africa to America, but no, it also comes to the UK. It was a triangle. I remember that vividly from my history lessons. Like I was really lucky that to have the history teacher that I did, and like we watched Roots, which I believe features Mika from Rooster Teeth's, Mika, who used to be a achievement hunter, who we just spoke about earlier. I think her dad was in that, I believe, and like it's her. Like I know this, like I've learnt this stuff, and it's so important to be educated about this, and it's okay to go, okay, I didn't know that, I'm sorry. It's okay to do that. It's okay. I think it's really important to always keep learning. It's so important to learn things, because we're not always taught these things. We're not always taught them. There's so much has happened this week. Okay, I've talked about that. Yeah, so it's okay. This is the next step. And thank you so much to people who are donating. I need to get this open so I can see. Over 14,000 now. Thank you so much, everyone. You are absolute sweethearts. I'm very, very, very proud of this community. Thank you. Other things. Right. This week, as like one of the many, like basically, for those of you who don't know, Outside Xbox and Outside Extra are part of a network of YouTube channels and websites, and we released a public statement, and like basically the games industry is very bad at having mostly white people in it, and it's like, it was eye-opening enough as a woman being in, like, joining it and being like, oh, there's not as many women as there should be, but then also where are all the black people, and it's something that the games industry is full of, like, so many progressive people who are like, yeah, we need to change it, but they're not really. We've definitely, as an industry, not taken enough steps to improve. We've really fallen short. And I think, like, when people were like kind of constructing the statement this week, we were like, we have to address the elephant in the room, in that most of us are white, so we need to address that. So did that, and I'm really pleased, because I think the more companies and things, it's like, we live in a very corporate society, and corporations hold a lot of power. So when corporations do come out and say, well, actually, we should care about people, it makes such a difference. I'm like, and I felt so happy to be part of a network that, a network of websites and YouTube channels that all came together and made that statement. We popped it up on Twitter and Instagram, and there was some stuff on Instagram. Twitter was mostly cool people. Then we put it on our community channel, community tab on our channel, and it was my job this week. I said, hey, I'll moderate it. Dear Lord, I have never seen a comment section like it, and I'm someone who has gotten, like, threats of sexual assault against me because I had an opinion that someone didn't like. Basically, it like, there were a lot of lovely responses, but I had to moderate the hell out of that, and that was like, not great. It really hurt to read that stuff, and it's not a personal hurt, it's the realize, like, you know, these people are out there, and I spoke to a friend about it, and he was like, don't forget that, like, they're the reason that we have to make the statements in the first place, so they are going to be there. Like, if they weren't like this, we wouldn't have to make these statements. So it wasn't like, yeah, thank you to my friend Jackson for that. And it was just the kind of, like, oh gosh, like, they are there and they're just saying this stuff, and I was just having to moderate it. The racism, the misinformation, the absolute lies, and then because I was deleting those, people going, oh, you don't believe in free speech. Look, free speech doesn't mean that you can't say lies, like, that you're allowed to say whatever you want. You don't know what free speech means. It means that you can criticize the government without fear of immediately being imprisoned and silenced. Just like how the Second Amendment is actually there so that you can fight tyranny, not so you can not so you can get mad that you can't get a haircut. but yeah, and I think a lot of people were like, oh my goodness, and didn't realize these people exist. But it's Katie Douglas, free speech protects you from the government, not the Ellen. Correct. I am not the government, so I'm going to tell you to shut up. Oh, gosh, my voice went weird then. But yeah, it's something like this type of stuff. I've been moderating the hell out of it. Like moderation is just so that you like, so people know what is not acceptable. And that came up in the stuff with Achievement Hunter, because a lot of the problem was that people were just they had this policy of, I'll just ignore it and like you'll be fine. It doesn't. Ignoring it is not fine. And I made it in, I didn't realize how long ago I made that video, but it was in 2013 where I made a video. Like, I have never ever prescribed to don't feed the trolls. I have always responded because I know that like silence, I've seen that silence, they think that they can, you know, if you ignore them, they shout it louder the next time. That's what in that video I said. I made a video called "Abuse Does Not Equal Trolling," and I was basically making a thing saying, hey, everyone watching needs to be like the consequence. If you see an awful comment, you need to either call it out or report it or anything like that. And yeah, there are people who want to just go and look for a fight and they're just saying things to rile you up. But like, I don't care if that's their goal and they've achieved their goal. Like, because if someone else, it's not their goal just to wind someone up, it emboldens other people if they see that and they see people getting away with it. And a big thing I said in that is you laugh at them, like mock them. They hate being undermined. One of my go-to things for years was just correcting grammar. And it's something that recently they've started doing back to people, and then like but not, they can't do it as much because usually the people who spout hate are worse at grammar, funnily enough. It's something to do with like ignorance maybe playing a part in that. But hey, it doesn't give them any excuse though, because I know people who didn't get fantastic grades at school, but they're still stand-up human beings. But yeah, just it became that outside extra thread kind of became a lightning rod for all those people. Also because YouTube, I think, was pushing it into the feeds of people who don't even watch us. They do this weird thing with community posts where they push it out to people who aren't subscribed to you. So I think a lot of people who were going unsubscribed weren't even subscribed to us in the first place. But also, if you want to unsubscribe from my work because I've said, hey, I care about black people, screw you. Like, I don't care. Go, leave. I don't want you to enjoy the stuff that I work really hard on. I work really hard on everything that I do, and I want it to be enjoyed by people who deserve it, and you don't deserve it. You don't deserve my work. I'm not saying that I'm amazing. I'm not like the most fantastic creator out there. But I don't want my hard work to be free entertainment for someone who doesn't think that black people should have the same rights as them and doesn't listen to the pain of people and doesn't educate themselves. Like, yeah. Anyway, if you are thinking of starting a YouTube channel, if you have a YouTube channel, YouTube has some amazing moderation tools. Make the most of them and cultivate a welcoming place for people, no matter what their race or gender or sexuality or anything. Because everyone is being very, very sweet in the chat. Thank you so much. You're all lovely. And I encourage you to take that same energy to lots of wonderful Black creators out there. I've been trying to share some stuff on Twitter, Outside Extra and Outside Xbox. We've been basically trying to highlight people that we like, Black creators that we like, friends of ours and people who are acquaintances of ours as well in the industry, and then people we've just discovered as well. Like we're really trying to point people in the direction of those who would not normally get a look in at certain things. So please do go give them a lot of love. Oh gosh, what else do I want to say? Jen Stentholt pointing out that Oxtra has gone up in subs over the last few days. I'm glad. Like that's sort of like what I thought. I was like, I don't think we've got enough of an awful audience. Like our audience is pretty dang cool. I would be surprised if our numbers went down after posting that we care about Black people. Anyway. Some people in chat. Yeah, this is another thing I want to talk about. Asking about J.K. Rowling. Oh, right. Okay. So, I am a huge Harry Potter fan. I love Harry Potter. You will see behind me there are Harry Potter things. I've got Hermione's wand and Sirius's wand. I've got a buckbeak that someone made for me. I've got also, Brendan, if you're watching, I've got your buckbeak over there. I've also got the books there. There is a little bit of a meme-y type quality to a YouTuber having the Harry Potter books in the background, because that's pretty much what everyone of a YouTube creator age, certain type of YouTube creator, has read. And J.K. Rowling has kind of cemented herself as like this. What did she even tweet? Oh God, what did she even tweet? Let's have a look at this. Let's have a look at this mess. Oh my goodness. How are you all doing, by the way? I'm really sorry. This is very ranty, and I hope that she's, oh gosh. It was trending because there we go. Right, so there was an opinion piece that talked about people who menstruate. Okay? So menstruation is when an egg comes out of an ovary, goes down the fallopian tube, goes into the womb, and then if it's not fertilized, this is very like basic sex ed, then the person has a period where the lining of the uterus is shed, ready for another month, and the cycle is repeated again. And I literally had to teach a guy that there was a difference between period blood and just blood, and that blew my mind, like someone in my personal life, and I was just like, oh, it's just anyway. Yeah, and basically someone said people who menstruate, because not everyone who has periods is a woman. Like there are people who will be of like it's gender's a spectrum. I am not qualified enough to explain this type of stuff fully. And like I don't want to say the wrong words while I'm angry. Like basically while I'm angry I might slip up and say the wrong words, and I'm really, really sorry to any trans non-binary people watching if I fluff up. But basically it was she put out these tweets of like just reading it and it's so cringy. People who menstruate, I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumben, wimpend, woomand. I'm like, it's just getting worked up at inclusive language that doesn't exclude you. Like, why? It doesn't hurt you. There's this weird idea that trans women are trying to erase real women, and as a real woman, as a cis woman, I'm not scared of trans people. I'm just not. Every person that I've met who is identified as trans or non-binary has been so lovely, and has unknowingly educated me on so much stuff. But yeah, it's it just, oh gosh, just reading this stuff. But like, because there was always, I always had that fear, and I might have missed some stuff as well. But this really just cements that, and it's a shame. I've seen some lovely tweets by friends, including trans friends, being like, oh wow, it's amazing how Harry Potter just like appeared and no one knows where it's from, because it's so sad. Oh, it was Halsey. Or Halsey, I never know how to say her name because I've only ever seen it written down on Spotify, but I believe I retweeted it, and I would like to try and find it and share it. I've done so much retweeting of various things today. The last couple of weeks has been bizarre. In terms of like my timeline, I've never been so active. Imagine writing a generation defining series about a youth uprisal that defeats a tyrannical monster motivated by the preservation of pure blood, and looking at this time in the world and going, yeah, I'm gonna invalidate trans people. And it's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. And then she tried to be like, oh, TERF is a slur. TERF stands for trans. No, it doesn't. Yeah, it does. It's, oh god, I can't even remember. Yeah, trans exclusionary. I'm getting so wound up by all this. Radical feminist. Okay, be a radical feminist all you want, but be an inclusive one. Be a intersectional one. Realize that there are multiple things that affect how the world treats you, and treats different people. Wasted Pose says, fun fact, Harry Potter was actually translated from ancient Sumerian texts. Amazing stuff. It just breaks my heart as a Potter fan, a big Potter fan, as someone who has been to the Harry Potter studio tours so many times that when they ask if you've been before and they keep reading the number up, I'm always the last one with their hand up now. I learned so much from those books about who to look out for when there's trouble, and like who to believe and who to be wary of. And J.K. Rowling is not, she's looking less like Dumbledore and more like Mrs. Umbridge. Like, yeah, she's turning into Rita Skeeter. She is, like, when it comes to this issue, Like, there's still other things that I agree with her on, and she put out some like occasionally she still puts out some good things, but that doesn't make anything that she's said about trans people okay. And it's it's wild. It's wild. If you told me when I finished that final book that J.K. Rowling was going to be going off on Twitter about trans people, like, and then getting upset when people go, oh, okay, so you are this acronym. It's an acronym. Is acronym the right word? I don't trust myself right now because I'm kind of Mara Del Val says, Ellen, can you say trans rights, please? Trans rights. It's Pride Month. Trans rights. It's. I'm really sad because I love Harry Potter so much. I love that series so much. It means the world to me, and like I fully think so many people have learnt so much from it, and I can only imagine how trans fans of that series feel. Like, yeah, acronym. I am saying acronym. Like, an acronym is not a slur. Like, it's an acronym describing what you are, rather than, hey, here is a word that we've said to undermine you and to not call you by what you actually are. Anyway, but yeah, hey, everyone's reacting to trans rights. Yeah, trans rights. Yeah. It like it breaks my heart to see people. Yeah, and like as Halsey said, like, this time right now is when you decide to be like, I am being oppressed. We need to focus. Like, also just the whole side note of it being Pride Month, okay, and half of like the LGBT movement, like the LGBT movement was kicked off by black trans women. Like, that is the absolute cross between the two things being attacked right now. The two types of people being attacked right now. And like, just go look it up, like Stonewall riots and things like that. Like, just they just want to exist. Yeah. Man. It is. Yeah, Black Lives Matter, trans rights. I'm like, learn from your mistakes. It's okay to own up. It's okay to admit to being wrong. It's okay to be like, oh, I didn't know that. Because if you think you know everything, then in my opinion you know nothing, because you don't realize it's the Dunning-Kruger effect, I think it is, where the less someone knows about something, the more they think they're an expert. It's like all these people who go, oh, but it's like simple biology, and they don't know anything about like actual biology. Like, in my experience in the sciences, like, so at the end of school, when I was at school, they've changed it slightly in terms of you have to stay on longer in the UK now. But in the UK, you get to 16 and you do what is called your GCSEs. And then you do A-levels if you want to stay on, and you do those when you're 18. They're spread across 2 years in modules. Anyway, I did chemistry A-level, and one of the first things you're taught in chemistry A-level is that everything that you're taught in chemistry GCSE, which is the thing that most people will get to and then never look any further, is basic. Like, not basic as in the basics, but in your basic. Like, they water it down so that people have a very, very kind of understanding of it, and they sort of get it. And this was especially the case in how atoms are structured. So we learn it in one way, and then you go to A level and they're like, okay, forget that. This is how it actually is. And that's basically what it's like in biology as well. Like, that's basically what people who study genes and genetics have been saying. Like, hey, I believe I either liked or retweeted. Have a look through my likes or my retweets. There's one in there from someone who's like, so I'm actually a biologist, so let's have a look at this. And yeah, Scott Roscoe says it's when you know just a little bit that there's a problem. It's like the people, they think you hear a couple of things and you're like, oh, okay, I know that now. And it's like, oh no, things go way deeper than you've seen the tip of the iceberg. But there's a whole bunch of stuff. Sorry for hitting the microphone. There's a whole bunch of stuff underneath that you don't get yet and is waiting to be shown. And you need to dive down to fully get how huge this thing is and what a big topic it is. And when you're 16, it's like there's not, you don't learn enough. You don't learn enough. Let's have a look at how, I just want to see, I've not seen, we're over 15,000. Thank you everyone so much. I know there's been a lot of things that I've been asking you to donate to this week, whether it be here last Sunday or over on Outside Xbox and Outside Extra. Raised over like 54 grand the last time I looked. I've not seen, it's probably something ridiculous now. Eurogamer got up to, I think, 25k as well. US Gamer raised a bunch. And I've been sending you all in directions of various links and things on Twitter. So, I completely blown away that you're still able to donate this right now. So thank you so much. 15.5 grand is amazing. And again, this thing is open to everyone. So if you are a YouTuber who wants to add to this total, because I don't even know, like, if you have used it, feel free and let me know. And yeah, like there were some really great streams this week, and if you are someone who has made a video or made a stream and used my fundraiser, let me know, because it'd just be cool to know, because it doesn't tell you when you create it. Another thing, one of the Paul brothers, I think I retweeted it, has done the thing where they've used someone else's thing and they've already raised money, and then someone went, oh my goodness, he raised all this in like 20 minutes, and he's like, yeah, because of you guys, when that was the amount already raised by a different YouTuber, which I think is really scummy. Also, it was one of the Paul brothers, I think it was Jake Paul, that was the one that was like looting last week that I alluded to last week, but didn't say, but I wish I had said, so I've said it now. And I think that's awful, because there have been there was something that some people in the chat were like trying to be like, hey, don't forget to mention this, but there have been a lot of opportunists who are nothing to do with the protests who are rioting and making things worse. So yeah, it's ridiculous. But yeah, thank you for being a cool audience. I kind of don't know what else to say now. We've been here for an hour. How is everyone doing? It has been a really tough week for a lot of people. It's been a tough week for people who have had to reflect on their own behaviour. It's been a tough week for people who are just trying to make their lives less rubbish and are trying to be heard. Just, I can't imagine. Like I've been feeling this week. I cannot imagine how it must feel for African Americans right now, and for any black person. My favourite thing actually as well, people were like, at the London protests, a police officer was like pushed off his horse or dragged off his horse by protesters, and then the video came out and he actually just rode into a lamp set of traffic lights. And then it was less funny because his horse kept running and trampled someone. I hope they're okay. I couldn't see if there was a follow-up to whether that person was okay, so shout out to that person and hope they're all right. But yeah, that was just something funny. It was ridiculous as well because like there was one of these people that is constantly tweeting about how awful the left is and blah, blah, blah. Tweeted this picture. I can see they took him off his horse and were like, are you watching the same video as everyone else? He rode straight into a set of traffic lights. Just, man. It was the same level as the guys who last week that I mentioned fell off the back of a police car because it started and then sprayed midair, like in the middle of a junction where there was no one near them, just pepper sprayed the air. It was ridiculous. Although mentioning pepper spray and going back to like that, I hope you've all had time to go watch the police militarization last week tonight. And before I go on to that though, I want to say, like, talking about like tear gas and everything, there's like, I'd like to give, like, kind of send my heart out to Sarah Grossman's family. She was a protester who basically, she passed away, and it was because of, they think it was because of the tear gas that was thrown at her when she was at a peaceful protest. And yeah, just thinking of all the people that have been hurt, like the guy who was shot who used to give free food to cops, and he was shot. So yeah, so please do all be safe and look after yourselves while you're out there. So my heart goes out to Sarah's family. And yeah, anyway, going back to the John Oliver stuff that made me think of Sarah, there's a whole bunch of other things, other videos that I would encourage you to watch of his, which are to do with bail, because a lot of people are saying with the bail funds, like, oh, you're funding terrorism and blah blah blah. No, like bail, the last week tonight did a very good piece about how, like, people just end up stuck in prison forever because they just can never afford bail, and then rich people who murder people are just like, money, bye, and they can wait in the luxury of their homes for a court date, whereas other people can't, and they're stuck in jail, and it sucks. And a lot of the people being arrested are just being arrested for peaceful protesting, and it sucks. There were a couple of things that I had down, and I annoyingly lost the things that I wanted. Oh, that was it. There's felony disenfranchisement. So people who have been arrested, making it harder for them to vote. And when the prison population is mostly black people who are being sent to prison for crimes that white people probably are not sent to prison at the same rate, even though they commit them at the same rate. That's creating a kind of voter suppression that disproportionately affects black communities. And then there's just like the basic one that they did on prison, which had the Muppets in it, or a version of the Muppets in it, and it was lovely. So yeah, go watch that, because it's the, like, because people who are protesting against the cops in America, and that's not to say that we don't have a problem in the UK. I think that we need to have serious reform here, but like that, it's the whole system in America. Like, my eyes have been completely open to it by watching things like Last Week Tonight, And another thing that I would very much recommend you watch, if you haven't already, is 13 on Netflix. It's basically saying about how, because with that was it. It was the other video that I wanted was prison, like working in prison, and prison labor. That was the one. Because basically slavery has been abolished, but when most of the people locked up in jail are Black Americans, and they're doing work for nearly nothing. How is that any different if, they're being put in prison for ridiculously minor crimes? Anyway, there's a whole bunch of stuff, so watch those. Watch 13th. Open your eyes to these things. It's and I want to look and educate myself more on the British system, because we don't really have as many documentaries. We don't have John Oliver talking about ARC ops at the moment, and I want to make sure that I know more about it. It's there's a lot of ridiculous things happening right now, and there was something else that I thought of, and that's gone. But that's the joy of doing a live stream where I'm just talking. I'm just going to have a sip of stuff and see what you guys have been saying in chat. Excuse me. Apparently Legal has some good stuff. Yeah, I need to check out more of his things. So yeah. Oh, someone's saying don't read Bojo's most recent tweet. That was another thing. Priti Patel, I saw her say that the slave owner statue being pushed in the river completely undermines all the protests. And I'm like, no, that's the point of the protests, is dealing with the hugely racist past that is still affecting people today. And there were some people, when that statue was taken down, sitting and going, yeah, but they could have gone about it in a legal way and not had to deface it and break it down. People have been trying to get that statue removed many times. People, I have friends who live in Bristol, and they've been there have been calls to have that statue removed and nothing has been done. And people are like, oh my goodness, the vandalism is it completely horrifies me, and I'm so upset at the vandalism. I'm like, yeah, I'm upset at the vandalism. I'm upset that it took vandalism for a slave owner's statue to be taken down. Not just a slave owner, a slave seller. I'm outraged that it took a crowd of people going down there and taking it down themselves before anyone people are there are so many people out there who had no idea who he was. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was until I knew that we played a huge role in slavery, but I didn't know all of the individual names. At least I couldn't remember them from when I studied them at school. And I've learnt more about this guy today because some people have torn down his statue than I ever would have by his statue just sitting there. And that has been said by multiple people on Twitter. Hey, you're all complaining, but you know who he is. You didn't know who he was before. Nigel Farage can absolutely do one. He's saying there's a new Taliban. Do you even know what the Taliban was, dude? But no, you're just flipping dog whistling with your racist. How? Why do we give a platform to these people? The only platform they should have is a set of stocks so we can throw tomatoes at them. he's awful. He's an awful human being. And like people saying racism isn't a problem in the UK. Look at Nigel Farage's poster about look at all these brown people who are going to come into your country and ruin it. Ooh, Turkey wants to join. You don't want the Turks coming over here, do you? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. If you don't like people from Turkey, stop eating kebabs. If you don't like people from Turkey, don't celebrate St. George's Day. I believe St. George is like he was from a place which is now Turkey. It's people who are really, 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 really dumb. And it's okay to admit when you're being dumb. Because I was dumb earlier this week and I admitted it. Not being like, oh, I'm so great for doing that. It's the basics. It's the blooming basics. You got to learn from people who have different experiences from you. And Nicholas Cross saying like the guy whose statue was taken down, like he got it because he gave some money. That's how they do it. They made money, they give it, and they go, oh, because this person gave so much money, we'll thank them with the statue. Like it wasn't because of his work, it was because of his money. And no. Flo asking, because I am still on lockdown, I'm staying in, I don't trust my government. Ellen, have you finally spent some time in the garden this weekend? I haven't, because it has been peeing it down in London. It's been really cold, so I've not been able. We've actually bought my family new garden table and chairs, and I was hoping to make them this weekend and like have them outside and have a nice time outside, but no, it's been too wet and rainy to do that. But shout out to the people who've still been out doing protests while it's absolutely been peeing it down. You are amazing. But yeah, things to take from this. Trans rights, Black Lives Matter. Don't ignore the trolls because they just shout louder next time, or they see your space as a space that they can be awful in and see no consequences. Everyone should be the consequence. If you would like to see my very badly edited video from 7 years ago, search like trolls abuse, because I use the not equal sign in the title and it's not easy to search in my videos if you want to see a much younger me with non-purple hair. And the editing isn't as great. I was watching it going, Ellen, past Ellen, I believe in everything that you have to say right here, but oh my goodness, you should have cut like a split second earlier and this would have been way more impactful. It's amazing what people can do if you do something well. Like if you can ignore the orcs, not the trolls, says Timothy Dye. Yes. But yeah, it's amazing what you can do, like to get your point across if you do it in a flashy enough way. That's what I've learned on YouTube. Oh my goodness, Mr. Glenn, thank you so much. That's a huge donation. That is amazing. That's cool. We're nearly at 16,000. So like getting another 3,000 this evening has been lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. Growly, Ellen with not purple hair, heresy. Oh, another small victory this week. Is I've discovered that this hair dye is better than the hair dye that I usually use. The lockdown has been one benefit of the lockdown is that I had to try a different hair colour because I couldn't find the one that I would normally buy. I couldn't get hold of it online, so I tried a new one and it's better. So this is washing out much less than my usual one. So rebellious, better than crazy colour, I've learnt. But anyway, let's stop. Because I'm rambling, and oh my goodness, it's nearly 10:15. Right. So yeah, Black Lives Matter, trans rights. It's okay to learn from your mistakes. It's okay to admit you made a mistake. Just because you made one mistake doesn't mean that everything else you say is wrong. I think that's the fear, is if you admit to one thing being wrong, then you think that people will pick apart everything else that you say. And yeah, there is a fear of that, but man, what? Oh my goodness. £500 donation. Thank you, Graham. Thank you to John Burnham for the 50 as well. John Burnham is always very sweet with his donations for various things. He always pops them in right at the end when we're too late to say thanks for it. But I see you. Thank you very much. You're always lovely. And we've hit 17,000. Thank you, Sporgan, for donating. Wow. Thank you so much. All the money from this goes to the NAACP. Working to make life better and fairer for African Americans in the USA. But yeah, look after yourselves, everyone. If you're protesting, take care. Wear a mask. Take hand gel. Go educate yourself on all of these things, because we all have stuff to learn. And when you don't be scared of messing up. Because as long as you go, oh right, I'm sorry, I didn't realize. People like, there's this whole fear of cancel culture, but it's not really a thing. Not everyone owes you their forgiveness. Like, some people will still be angry at me in certain things, and that's fine, because everyone has to work through their anger at different rates. And I'm never gonna be like, I said sorry though. Like, let people, it's not up to them to forgive you. But at the same time, like, not everyone is out to cancel you. If you turn around and go, hey, I made a mistake, and admit that you made a mistake, people are like, cool, now help us. And that's what we got to do. We got to learn from our mistakes and then see where we can help. But yeah, huge hugs to everyone out there. Thank you to my rosebuds, my lovely rosebuds. Let's grow and make the world a nicer place. It's been a week, but let's make things better. Let's not stop fighting. Let's not stop talking about this. Because we need everyone in on this. But thank you so much for watching. Take care. Have a lovely week. Maybe see you again here next week, same time. Try and raise some more cash. That'd be cool. All right. Take care of yourselves. Bye.